Hey family, hey family, hey family. It is your girl, Mrs. Michelle Allen Franklin. Yes, honey, Mrs. Michelle D.I. Why? For divine intervention, honey, because you know there are no coincidences in this world. Only God's divine intervention in our lives. And Mrs. Community Builder, why? Because you know your girl is going to give you the good information, boo, the things you need for your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotions, honey. And I'm so excited about this month, honey. Have y'all been following your girl? Where you at, boo? Where you been? What you doing? What's going on with you? Honey, your girl has been every day introducing you to an amazing woman. Why? Because it is Women's History Month. And why talk about women that I don't know when I know amazing women? And today in the studio, boo, I have another amazing woman here for you to meet, baby. Miss Joni Duncan. I love her. Hey, Joni, girl.
Hey, how are you?
Yes, yes, yes. Miss Joni. Yes, Miss Joni Duncan is an amazing woman, honey. When I tell you she took me to another level of healing that I didn't even know that I needed at the time. And I just love how God is very strategic, in that way and giving us and guiding us, waiting until we're ready, I believe, to deal with and handle some things. But we're going to get all into that. But first off, Joni, hey girl, how you
I'm
doing?
doing good.
Tell the people who you are, what you've been doing in this world.
Oh man. Well, my name's Joni Duncan, and Michelle and I were lucky enough, blessed enough to meet, and we've been friends for how many years has it been?
I was trying to figure it out, maybe 7 or 8,
At
at least,
least.
at
At
least.
least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just glad it happened. That's all I can say.
Joni is a beautiful spirit on this side of heaven, honey. I think what you do with women is just amazing. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. So let me just say a little bit about this. I will say that this subject today is a sensitive subject. I think that, but it is, your girl prides herself in having the uncomfortable but necessary conversations that we need to have. And so that's what we're doing today. So, as I was saying earlier, when I met Joni, I had not really realized how much of shame and guilt I was carrying, right, when it came to my sexual life. And so, as a young girl, I was molested by 2 cousins. As you guys know, I talk about all the time. The very first time that I, had sex, I got pregnant. I was 14. I had an abortion. And so my sexual journey has been, and then, moving on, I was raped in my 20s, you know what I mean? And so the journey was, I went through a long period of time where I did not even want to be seen. And I think a lot of women can relate in this, where we go through a period and point of time where, you know, there's so much sexual attention, and I've received it at such a young age that, not just getting into a space where I don't even say nothing to me. Like I wouldn't even do my hair. I want my hair back in the same little way. I didn't dress so that I would, gather any attention. It was very plain, baggy sweatpants and a t-shirt, for years I did that very subconsciously. It wasn't, Joni, like I said, oh, I'm going to just disappear,
Right.
but it was just this very subconscious thing. And then I gained all of this weight that I know now was from the rape, right? With this man tossing me all around the room at 140 pounds. Oh, no, you're not going to be able to just toss me around. So subconsciously, I gained this weight. So again, shame and guilt was I was carrying, bag lady, you're gonna hurt your back carrying all them bags like that, right?
Yes.
I am carrying all of these things. And so when I met Joni, I feel like I was in a very intentional healing journey. And again, I didn't even know that I needed your services the way that I did. I didn't even know it was going to free me the way that I did, but it was this shame and this guilt, the shackles, right? It was holding me
Oh,
high.
yes.
And so when I met you, Joni, it was again, I feel like I was just at a period of being open. And so can you talk a little bit, maybe even about your journey and how did you even, get to doing what you're doing right now?
Well, I was kind of at a point in my life where I was searching. I had, an array of different jobs. I had managed a restaurant. I had been a court reporter. I had been an EMT.
Mhm.
I
Wow.
had some really great jobs, but I never really felt passionate about them. I was just collecting my paycheck.
Mhm.
And then I ended up one night, I was invited to a get together of ladies, a little party, an in home party. And when I went to the party, um, the woman that was doing the presentation, she was talking about romance products. So your
Mhm.
lotions, lingerie, novelties, and more. And it was, my eyes are big as saucers because
Yeah.
I was very nervous. Like, what are we going to do? What happens at this party? But it was really just a presentation. It was just a bunch of
Yeah.
women sitting around looking at products. But I did notice a really interesting thing is that because we were all women and we were in the room together, we're not really doing most of the discussing. She's just announcing the products and kind of explaining, like, hey, this is your body oil, makes you feel good about yourself, makes you smell good, makes your skin soft.
Mhm.
Your largest organ is your skin. It's the first thing people see. So I kind of felt empowered. I was like, well, this is
Mhm. Mhm.
wonderful. And
Mhm.
I felt like I was kind of taking charge of, yeah, I want to feel good. And, I like these products. I want to learn more. But anyways, when she started taking orders, I saw the interest that my friends were showing, and they all
Mhm.
wanted to purchase. Some of them were married, and they wanted to enhance their relationship with their partner to keep
Yes.
things interesting. And some of the girls were single, and they just wanted to get things for themselves instead of focusing, on, oh, I'll be validated if I have a lover. They're like,
Sure.
you know what, self love, right? Just like
Yeah.
you've gotten the title today.
Yes.
So that was how the journey began. It was really innocent
Wow.
enough. It was randomly ended up at the party, and then I saw the business opportunity of it, so I joined that company. And then along the way, it became a lot more life changing than I anticipated. I really thought when I signed up, I thought, oh, I'm going to sell products. I'm
Mhm.
just going to sell products and make money. But then the pivotal moment in my career, the first thing that just changed everything was I had a woman twice my age, because this was 21 years ago. So I was 24 years old. She's twice my age. She shows up to the party. She's got red eyes, and, we're women. I could tell she had been crying.
Sure.
And you know how it is. So I do the presentation. She kind of lightens up a little bit during the presentation, but I could tell something was just really on her mind that was, how it is, like really bothering her. So after the party is over, we do private ordering. So the girls come in one at a time. They place their orders, just me and her, and they buy what they
Mhm.
want or ask their questions. They purchase their stuff, and then they leave with everything. So it's very exciting, instant
Mhm.
gratification. So
Yes.
this particular woman comes in the room with me, and I said, did you have a good time? I couldn't, I just want to be sure you're okay. It kind of looks like you're really sad. And she said, she said, Joni, right before I got here, my husband served me divorce papers.
Wow.
And I said, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. And she goes, and I'd already told my friends I was coming to this party, so I felt obligated. I didn't want to cancel. I'm a woman of my word. And she said, and I
Sure.
got here and I thought, I don't need anything this girl's selling. I just got divorce papers handed to me. My relationship is over. She was
Yeah.
just devastated. And she goes, but now that I'm sitting here with you, she's like, my mind is blown.
Yeah.
Because when I was with she had been married like, I don't even know, 20 years, like a long time.
Mhm.
And she said, all these years with my husband, he would ask me, can we try nothing crazy, but can we try a different position, or can we try a little lotion or cream, or, you know what I mean? Like, can we try
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
else because we want to keep things spicy?
Sure.
And she said, I would tell my husband, absolutely not. If you want things to be wild and crazy in the bedroom, I'm the wrong woman for you. And she said, and I was strict. Like, we only did like one or two positions, like missionary, just really. And,
Yeah.
I just kind of told him, do what you need to do. I'm a good wife. I'm a good mother. Just, have your fun. And then I'm busy. I need to get back to my life. So she was not a very
Yeah.
romantic person.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm going to buy a couple products, but I've got to go home and talk to my husband. Like, I feel like after I saw how open everybody was at the party, I feel like
Yeah.
I really need to loosen up. And so the next day, this is back before texting was a thing, really. She was, she emailed me. Remember the
Mhm.
days we actually
Yes,
checked our email? So
yes,
she
AOL.
emailed me and she said, I have to tell you that this is a life-changing moment for me. She said, I
Mhm.
came to that party not expecting anything, and I left empowered. I
Wow.
came home to my husband and had conversations with him that I had never had the guts or knowledge, or even the incentive to have
Yes,
them. And she
yes,
said, and you're not going to believe it, after the conversation, when I was more open and, I was going to become more receptive to his advances and try to reconnect as a couple to,
yes.
to stimulate the love and all the happy feelings we had when we first got together. She said, once we had that conversation, he tore up the divorce papers.
Oh,
I know. And so I'm
Joni,
sitting there and
that's
I'm reading this and I'm like,
amazing.
whoa. And so she followed up with me a couple more times, over the years, but they're, as far as I know, they're still together. And but regardless, the point was that
Yeah.
taught me that I'm not selling products, even though they're amazing.
Yes,
The products themselves is not the issue. It's that people don't have, like you said, the tough conversations. And they
yes,
may not realize
yes,
that they need to. And they may
yes,
not be comfortable because they don't know the words, you
exactly,
know? So
exactly.
to me, that just blew my mind. So I told a friend this and she's like, oh my gosh, you saved a marriage. And I'm like, well, I didn't do the hard work. I was
Yes,
just kind of the door that opened in front of them. Like, hey, come on in and just consider discussing this before you make a rash decision to, change your whole life. And anyway, once that happened, I just realized like there's so much more to what I do. And that created the passion of
yes.
me continuing to do this for 21 years. Because I'm
Wow.
like, if I can help somebody, even in some small way,
Yes,
to open their mind or be more receptive or, revive their relationship or feel validated, without a partner or lover, just knowing you're enough, just
yes,
being you,
yes.
then that's my goal. So I just love what I do. I'm very passionate about it. I feel very strongly. So when people laugh at my job, I'm like, well, it's serious business. It may not seem like it, but there's a
Yeah,
lot of good that comes out of what I do because of the
yeah.
educational side of it.
I love it, and that's the part that really grabbed me is that, and people, when you're kind of closed-minded or you just have this tunnel vision view of, oh, it's just these toys and it's just this and this is nasty and I'm a
Hmm.
Christian, so I
Hmm.
can't do that and blah, blah, blah. Like all of these
Hmm.
things, right? You
Yeah.
hold yourself in this again, you're carrying this shame, you're carrying this guilt for even thinking or having or even
Right.
wanting to know. I can't even ask the questions, you know,
Right.
you're holding yourself hostage. I have a little thing here of the impact on sexual function that sexual shame has, because this is how
Yes.
passionate I am about this.
No. Yes.
It says sexual shame has been linked to difficulties in sexual arousal, desire, orgasm, and the experience of pain during sexual activity because you all tensed up.
Yeah.
Right?
And women are in here all the time.
In their
They're in
heads, in
here.
their
Yeah.
heads. It says a comprehensive review indicates that sexual shame can serve as both a cause and a maintaining factor for these sexual difficulties, underscoring the need for therapeutic approaches that address sexual shame to enhance a woman's sexual health. Now,
Right.
the other thing to know is how important it is, women, one, to have an orgasm. I had women, when I started talking and working with Joni years ago, I had women that had never, they were in their 40s and had
Yes.
never had an orgasm before.
Yes.
And I honestly can say, I know I was very, very late in the game. You think that you are, because you're moist down there,
Yeah.
because you think that that's an orgasm until you have a real one.
Yeah. A lot of people
And
are
then
confused about it. True.
yes, and then you understand and know, because it takes trust. For me, if I had, because I had experienced so much sexual trauma,
Yeah.
I was going through the motion. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
whatever position, okay, whatever, doing this thing.
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah, and then it's over. Okay, great.
Right.
But I was not enjoying. It was just, this is what, okay, this is what we're doing. And I think that this is such an important experience, an important conversation for women who have been married for umpteen years, that are just in this role. You're just playing this, honey. you're killing your partner, right? It's not fair to him. It's not fair to you, vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It is, supposed to be a beautiful experience for you both to enjoy, for you both to get to know each other, for the intimacy. Sex doesn't start when you start kissing and when he comes home and all of things. Sex starts in the morning with the text, with the music, with the little
Yes.
nice note, with
Yes.
flowers before, with I'm babe, I'm thinking
Yes.
about you, with some nasty text messages, girl, I'm gonna do what you to you later.
It's
you
foreplay
know,
all day.
foreplay all day. Joni, talk about how important that is. Like, what has your experience been in all of this? Well, how important it is
I think the
foreplay.
most important thing is understanding what works for you. What does touch you?
Yeah,
Is it a steamy text? Is it a romantic text? Is it a little
yeah,
love letter? What is it that makes you feel appreciated and wanted and loved? And you have
yes,
to, obviously, if you're in a relationship, you have to know how to tell your partner, not in a rude way, like, well, you never do this. Let's
yes,
keep it positive. You just have to say, here's what this would really mean a lot to me. It's a very small gesture, but it would be meaningful. And then, like you're saying, small acts of love all day can be as simple as a text or a letter or a simple gesture. Like I brought you lunch.
mhm,
And I feel like if you tell your partner and this is the hard part about relationships. You can tell somebody how something makes you feel, and then unfortunately, you just have to sit back and hope they love and respect you enough to do it. You can't
yes,
make them. You don't want to guilt them or shame them or demand it.
right,
Love is kind and patient, right? So you
yes,
you have to come at it from a soft place in your heart and just say, please, if you would, this would mean a lot to me. And so that's how foreplay, I think, since we're talking about that particular subject, but
yeah,
once they know what you like and what matters to you, then these are the things that they could do all day long to make you feel positive towards them. And like you're saying, like you're ready to go long before you hit the bedroom because
exactly,
you've been getting your cup filled all day long, with those
exactly,
small gestures. So it's really important. And a lot of people discount that. Oh, I'm busy. Oh, I'm stressed. And I know, you got kids and a
mhm,
life and you're
yeah,
married. Maybe you're single.
yeah,
Yeah. It doesn't matter, but
yeah,
you still have to make time for the things that make you feel good, whether it's,
yeah,
acts of
yeah,
self-love where you're getting your nails done
mhm,
or your hair done, or it's going out with girlfriends that expand your mind, and or reading a
yeah,
book or watching a podcast or listening to a podcast or something, just things that make you grow. So every
mhm,
day the things in your life should make you grow, feel closer to the people around you, or if the people around you, whether it's your lover or your partner or your friend, if they're not pouring energy into you that builds you up, then you have to ask yourself, is this my tribe? Is this my circle
exactly,
of people that I need to be in? So, yeah,
exactly.
so foreplay all day for sure in a relationship.
Foreplay all day, honey, all day. Don't come with me.
I know. Trust me.
Now, Joni, one of the other things that I realized with you is just the history of women and even using toys, or even
Oh,
lotion,
yeah.
creams, and things to enhance your sexual experience. A lot of people consider this dirty, right? What do you say to those people that consider this dirty? This to
Well,
be a dirty thing.
it's fascinating you asked that. So when I started selling, I'm here in East Texas, so it's the Bible Belt, and there's a church on every corner, not an adult store,
Uh-huh.
and so people are a little bit, some of them a little repressed, maybe just they're not armed with the knowledge, and they have a lot of stigmas,
Yes.
and they worry like, oh my goodness, if I use, it's not just toys, if I use lotions or creams that smell good, oh, it's just too crazy, and
Yeah.
or if I were lingerie, I don't know. I just worry about some people because they're so worried about being, I don't want to do anything racy, but it's
Quote
like, hey,
unquote
you've had
bad girl.
sex.
Or, yeah.
If you're gonna have sex anyway, it might as well be good sex, and you need to
Right.
understand your body before you expect somebody to walk up and figure you out. But the history of the vibrator, if you ever Google it, it's pretty fascinating.
Amazing.
But
It's
they've been around
amazing.
since the 1800s.
Yes.
Um, they were widely accepted. Widely accepted that they had a medical use.
Yes.
They were to cure hysteria.
I'm about to say
The
women
first
were
vibrators were
crazy for
water powered,
digitally.
steam powered, and hand crank. Yeah, it's
Yes,
crazy. But
yes.
so this went on, and it was widely accepted. People, once they hit the market, people were purchasing them. But then the
They
bad
sold them
news
in
was,
magazines like Tupperware, guys, in
right. So
magazines like
yeah,
Tupperware.
yeah. So absolutely, Sears and Roebuck even had a magazine with household stimulating medical devices, to cure your hysteria at home. But the stigma
Right.
got attached around the 20s when motion pictures came out, because vibrators made it to the big screen and people started associating them with porn, and that's where the shame was attached to them. And
Mhm.
so then women didn't want to talk about having vibrators anymore. So
Yes.
so when you ask me, what's this all about? Why do people think it's dirty? It's really attached to a stigma that started in the 20s, and none of us were alive then. So nobody should be walking around these days even worried about something that happened so long ago. Toys are just a tool to get the job done. You've already got two hands, and you or your partner can use these to do whatever you want.
Mhm.
And when people are young and they're vibrant, I understand that they might be like, oh, I don't need no toy. I got a man, or I don't need it, or whatever.
Yeah.
But bad news, you're going to get older. And my groups of women that, they're more mature, or they've hit
Mhm.
menopause. They, how it is, hormone
Yeah.
changes, stress, life, loss, love, all the above. Um, and a walk of personal growth. People finally go, you know what? A toy would stimulate me a lot easier than me trying to do it manually all day long. And
Right.
or maybe they want to spice it up. But yeah,
Mhm.
so I would say people just should not stigmatize themselves like that. It's just crazy. That's like me saying, if I wear, a low cut blouse one day, I mean, that doesn't define me. It was just that
Right.
one day I wore a blouse that showed a little bit. So if you use a toy one or two times, it doesn't mean that you're ruined. It means, hey, I tried something new. Maybe I like it, maybe
Mhm.
I didn't, but at least give it a
Mhm.
go.
I can remember my very first toy party, and I was in my 20s, and I went with the girls at work. And for me, I just didn't have a good understanding. Like I just didn't know. And I'm going,
Right,
why? Why she want to get? I need a man. Like I don't want, like I was all this and just looking. And so I very much enjoyed the party. I enjoyed the sisterhood and all of the things. Like I had an amazing time. But at the end, I was like, why would I want to do that? I was just so confused about it.
right.
It was just over my head. And so I will never forget, the first time that I went to a store and and purchased my own, things. And I felt so that it's very empowering, I feel like, to know your body. One, to because again, I was just kind of in a phase where I was just like, I'm done with men. I was about 28. I'm over men. I don't even want to see them no more. Done with them. And I was like, okay, well, you got to take care of yourself some kind of way. So I was like, okay, I'm
Right.
going to the store. And so, but I just remember that understanding and knowing what you like. I had no idea even what I liked because I hadn't even allowed myself to feel those feelings, to even allow myself to be open to the question of what do you like? How can you explain to someone else what you like if you don't know? If you don't know yourself and you're just laying there, what, expecting this man to know what you like he's gonna figure it out? Oh, okay. And then you mad because you're not satisfied and he going about his business.
That's so true. It's all about communication and the right partner that cares for you, that wants you to enjoy it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of elements to make a really great experience.
Yes, yes, yes. And so talk a little bit about, your business and what you're doing now. Cause I mean, again, 21 years in the business.
I
To
know, it's
be so
crazy.
young, that's so crazy.
It's the
I said,
longest I've ever
you
held a
look like
job.
you're 21 right now, Joni. I'm just saying. You
I
still got
know.
21.
Well, I'm basically I have my own online website. It's down there at the bottom of the screen, I think, but it's
Yeah.
texasloveshop.com. And
Yes.
basically that's me. I own it. It's not a part of any other company at all. And people can shop online discreetly, and they can also message me to order. But most of my orders just come in online, then I ship it out that day. I keep products in stock. And then women call me to book parties. And so I go into their homes. And it's just ladies only, over 18, obviously. And
Yeah.
I do a fun presentation. We play
Yes, you do.
games. They get prizes. The woman that hosts the party gets free products. And it's just a really wonderful reciprocal relationship. She's letting
Yeah.
me in her home. Or sometimes they'll book, really nice hotel rooms or community centers, or they'll do it at a friend's house, or, a private room of a restaurant. But
Yes.
so that's what I'm doing now. I'm just kind of continuing what I've always done, just with even more conviction.
Mhm.
Because now that it's my company, instead of me working underneath another company, I'm even more empowered because I
I
can
love
pick and
that.
choose the products. I can customize it. Like if you call me and you're like, hey, I'm really looking for a product, let's say the other day, a woman was wanting to increase her libido. She's kind of, her body's going, and she's like, I need something to like get me back in the mood. Like I want to
Yes.
revive my relationship. So I was able to get some products that help with libido for her and her partner. So
Mhm.
it's just amazing. So anytime you need anything, you can always just say, hey, here's what I'm looking for, and I'll make it happen. My suppliers have thousands, tens of thousands of products now that I can
Love it.
purchase. So it's a game changer. But basically, I just do parties and sit here and fill orders all day and book appointments. And it's a lot more to my job than it sounds like. But you know how it is. And you talk to
Yeah.
people, like what you're doing with me right now. I'll have people call
Mhm.
me and share their experiences. And then they're like, now, what can I get, that would help enhance my love life based on what I
Yeah.
just told you? And I'm like, oh, let's customize an order. Absolutely.
Surely. I think it's so and that's exactly what I said, how I felt. I mean, empowering is just
Yes.
the word when I think of you and what you're doing. And
Thanks.
again, it is because I mean, Joni, it was so freeing for me
I'm
to
so happy to hear
realize.
that.
Yes, it was so freeing for me to realize, oh, it's not just a party. It's not just a toy. It's not just it really is you taking control of your life, or of
Yeah.
cutting some chains again of that shame and guilt or whatever else you're carrying. It is allowing you to be free and to express yourself in a way that maybe you never have in the past, you know and that is, I mean, it's just empowering on so many levels. It really is.
Yes, and I feel this, so I'd like to put it out there because I just thought about it. Is it's really important too. We talked about the people that you surround yourself with. You got to pay
Yes.
really close attention to that, because you might be wanting to do something in your life, and then somebody's holding you back in some way. Even just the friend that's like, you don't want to do that. Don't do that. You don't need to
Mhm.
do that. And it's like
Mhm.
it's easy to be influenced by people that you want to love you and support you, but I just think that, like when you came into the company, for example, so many people that I had met before, so many women, they'd get in, they get excited about it. They're like, oh, I'd love to do these parties and really help other women have fun and, explore their sexuality, be more open minded, be more educated. But then some naysayer in their life, some negative energy would come in and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're
Yeah.
going to do that. People are going to
Mhm.
judge you. People are going to judge you no matter what you do. I don't care
Mhm.
what you do. People that
That's right.
judge just judge. They're
That's
looking for
right.
crap. And you can't live your life like that. But how this relates to what we're talking about is like when you came in, I knew you were taking a step forward, a scary step, because you're like, what are people going to think? How am I going to do this?
Yes.
How do I talk about this in a way that keeps it classy and fun and
Yes.
empowering and engaging? So it was a huge learning curve for all of us. And for me to help you, that's a learning curve for me too, because you know how
Mhm.
it is, like maybe you can sew or something, you just do it. And then if I ask you, can you teach me? You're like, well, I just kind of know how to do it. I don't really even
Right.
know how I do it.
Right.
So to have to break down into steps, so like, okay, here's how you can rock this out. That was
Yeah.
a learning experience for both of us. But what I love is that you took the leap and
Mhm.
you benefited from it enough
Yeah.
that we're talking today,
Yes.
years later. Who would have thought? But you came in, you hit it hard, you did the parties, you grew, you changed,
Yeah.
and then of course you, like a butterfly, you moved on to the next stage in your life. But
Yeah.
you never know how you're going to affect people. So
Yeah.
think of all the people you met when you did any engagements or parties with people.
Yes.
Like you were
Amazing women.
changing things, whether you
Yeah.
know it or not.
Yes.
Just like this broadcast you're doing right now, it's going to strike people in different ways. But
Mhm.
somebody will walk away from it and say, That's right. I'm going to take charge.
Yes.
Instead of being a victim, and it's like, because we all go through lots of things. And thank you for sharing with us earlier very personal stuff about yourself. A
Yeah.
lot of people, they'll hide that stuff. It's shameful, like you said. It's
Mhm.
hurtful. It's painful.
Yeah.
And especially if they haven't taken the time to work through it. But see, you have. You look back and you're like, why did I gain weight? Why did I feel like this? Why was I not engaged with my relationships after that? You
Yes.
were in a bad place, and
Yes.
there had to be some big healing going on. And so
Yeah.
what a gift to me. What a pleasure to be a part of your journey
Yeah.
of growth and change and healing, because that is not easy to do.
At all.
No, it's not. Especially when you don't really want to admit it even happened. Maybe you don't even want to admit it to yourself. People black out bad memories sometimes. And then it all
Exactly.
comes rushing back because something triggers them. I mean,
Exactly.
we are very unique, complicated creatures. And when you really dive deep into your emotions
Hmm.
and kind of, what's right, what's wrong, and you start questioning things, and then you've got your outside influences, and then your influence from above, if you have,
Yes.
if you pray and talk to God about it. So it's life changing. It's just life
Yeah.
changing when you take the time to do the work and then branch out. So thank you for
Yeah.
believing in yourself enough to get into a business where you were helping other women to heal, not
Yeah.
only sexually, but, emotionally, to say, hey, let's process this. You're not bad because you've done this or been through this. Let's
Right.
just move past it and
Yes.
grow from it in a positive way. Because you could be, hooked on drugs right now on the streets, like you could
Definitely.
have just let your life spiral completely out of control. And that happens to some people.
Yep.
And it's hard, to get grounded the way that you did. So I'm blown away by your journey and your ability to connect with yourself and God and say, I'm going to get through this somehow, and I'm going to help people along the way. Phenomenal,
And
phenomenal thing.
I think too, it is one of those things because people are like, "What you talking about God and sex at the same time?" Like, what is that?
Yeah,
And it
yeah, we
is
are.
because I feel like even when I would have my parties and when I would meet these phenomenal women, it was like God was putting me in a space with women that had been hurt, that connected with my story,
Yes,
share it with
yes,
somebody, and they would be open and it would free them. It is the ripple effect
it
of your
is.
testimony. And it doesn't matter where you are, or what you're doing. You don't know how your story is going to affect someone else. You had no idea. I don't know if I shared with
Nope.
you, the extent of it, but it really was an empowering experience. And I'm just so grateful. you know,
Well, yeah, and I
so
always
grateful
tell people
for
to
it.
remember, sex is a healthy, wonderful,
Yes.
uh, part of a relationship. And honestly, it's pretty
It's one of the most
necessary.
important. Yes.
Yeah, because we've got too many influences now. We've got social media where the lines are blurred. Is it
Yes.
cheating if I'm liking photos of other people instead of my partner? I don't know. That's for y'all to decide.
Right.
Should I contact my ex and be like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" I don't know. So, again, that's all decisions that people have to make in their own relationships of what they will and will not tolerate, and what does and doesn't hurt, and what is and isn't a boundary,
Right.
and what is and isn't cheating.
Right.
But what I know is when you're focused on building stronger, better relationships, if you're in a committed one, you're going to end up having sex. And like I said earlier, it should at least be fulfilling for both of you.
Yes.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be mind blowing. I hope it is.
Yeah.
But even if it's just an emotional
It should
connection,
be.
maybe you don't even physically have sex. Maybe you're just like we talked about. It's the foreplay. It's the
Yeah.
feeding one another's souls, and just infusing love and kindness into their world. That's
Hmm.
huge.
Yes.
uh yeah, so, and isn't that what God is all about? It's the golden rule: treat people as you want to be treated,
Mhm.
and function well as a person, and think things through and be wise. So
Yes.
God and sex, to me, I mean, he made it a thing. He made it where it can
You
be
made it a thing.
pleasurable. I mean, it exists for a reason. It does help strengthen the bonds of relationships. I mean,
Yes, it does.
all these things happen in your mind when you are with someone like that, and hopefully it's good things, and
Mhm.
your good feelings and good endorphins and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I always tell people, I'm like, if you if you're having sex, then you can still be a godly person. I mean, that would be the equivalent of me saying, oh, if you're having sex, you're a bad person. No, that doesn't mean you don't believe in God.
Right.
God wants you to be happy. So if you're going to be doing something, at least do it well, and practice every day with your partner with love. And if you're single, then you can still take care of business and learn your body, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're not walking with God anymore. I mean, it just doesn't. And I think it's a very small-minded approach when people are like, oh no, that's bad, that's wrong. And I bet you $1,000,000 if I could look at their life through a microscope and I knew the truth about everything they had ever done, every lie, you know what I mean? And we're people, we're all sinners, but we all do things wrong. So it's funny, people focus on sex and they're like, oh, that's dirty, that's wrong, or toys are dirty, it's wrong. It's like, man, you've done some stuff in your life that probably nobody knows about because you've got skeletons in your closet too. So quit being so judgy and be real.
Definitely.
Stop trying to live in your bubble of perfection. You're not perfect. You never will be. Like you talked about the other day, you're like, perfection is not a great thing. Sometimes you just need to go for it.
Perfectionism is demonic, okay? Yes, that is a chain, honey. To get it, break it, boo, break it.
I know. Oh gosh.
And let me tell you this other part that's just the fact. If we weren't having sex, guess what? Nobody would be here.
We're populating the planet. Exactly.
So, just like you said, honey, let's talk about it. Let's do it and do it responsibly and do it, and the other part of it is the other thing that I learned when I was with you is that the products are not just like vibrators are such a small component of what you're doing. There are women with vaginal dryness, people that have gone through menopause, again, different things that women need to help with their bodies, even men that are on the road and away from their wives, or you have something that you might can handle instead of you going out and cheating on your wife. That's
exactly.
It's so many beautiful things, and it's just another way. I feel like you have to be open. And again, not being ashamed. And Joni, this is my last point, and we're going to wrap up. But this is why the cheating rate, the divorce rate is at 60 to 80%, depending on what you're looking at.
I know.
Because people are not feeling free enough to, one, be who they are, to be honest about what they like. So they go out and cheat and they find a chick that likes this and that. And then you have this woman that can't do this or can't do that. Honey, please.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, please love your husband, love your whoever enough, to have an honest conversation like that woman that you were talking about. You don't have to get a divorce. You don't have to be having living in separate rooms. You don't have to. You know what I mean? Like,
you've got to communicate. You've got to get real.
Marriage.
Yeah. Very true.
Things. And so, it's life-saving. So, Joni, I just want to thank you for the
thanks for having me
in my life, for coming on, for your transparency, for sharing your journey. I just love it. Again, I love it. And I did not know that I needed that empowerment at that time. I had no idea. I'm so glad I was open to it.
Yes, me too.
I'm so grateful that I was open to it. So as we wrap up, I'm asking all of my amazing women if you can share something that you've learned along your journey that have inspired you, that may inspire another woman or empower another woman. What is a lesson that you've learned? Because the name of this series is called Lessons and Blessings. And so
I love that.
Yes, that you might can share.
I feel like the most important thing that has propelled me throughout the years and continues to motivate me every day to move forward in the same direction is not allowing other people to influence me with their ideas. I'm happy to listen and take those things into account, but I'm not going to let anyone squash my dreams. And I think it's important that a lot of women, just like I said, look around at the people around you, even though they're family or they're your friend for 20 years. That doesn't necessarily mean that you should let them tell you what to do. You can hear
Right.
them, make your notes, but you need to decide what's best for you. Because if
Yeah.
I had let somebody, because when I first started my career, I had some very negative people in my life that were like, "Oh, if you're going to do that, and I'm like, you don't even understand what I'm doing. I'm just selling products, and I'm helping people, And so they're like, "Oh no," and their judgment was very scary. None of us like being judged, and none of us should be doing all that judging, by the way.
Mhm.
So if you're one of those people, you better tone it down, get real. But but if I'd have let those people dictate my life, you and I would not be having this conversation,
Yes.
and you wouldn't have had the experience that you had with me, and vice
Yes.
versa. And so
Yes.
the big lesson in my life is don't let other people tell you what to do.
Yes.
You need to forge your own path and decide what's best for you. And
Mm.
especially if it's sending you in a direction like what you and I have talked about today, in a better direction of healing. So if
Yes.
you know in your heart this is where you're supposed to go and you feel passionate about it, like that part of you wakes up, you're
Mm.
going the right way. Don't let anybody derail you. Because sometimes when you're happy and people see good things happening for you, I
Yes.
hate this, but in human nature, some people get a little jealous. They want to hold
Yeah.
you back,
Yeah.
and these people are not in your corner. So
Mm-hmm.
just be careful. So that's my big thing. I would just
I
say,
love
please
it.
be sure that you do things that make you feel good, that are true to you. Don't
Yeah.
let anybody squash your dreams. And the naysayers, you don't have to defend yourself. Let them be negative. Let them say what they want, right? The whole let them thing. Just let
Yeah.
them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't have to argue. You don't have to defend yourself. Just say, okay, well, you don't seem to understand my vision or my
Mm.
dream,
Okay.
and that's okay. You
Mm.
won't be a part of it. But sometimes by doing it, people come around, because they're like
Mhm.
sniffing around, like, she is doing really good. Maybe I need to check this
Oh,
out.
yeah. They always come
So
back around. They always
I
come back around.
know, I know. And it's almost like
Always.
some people just want to see if they can derail you. And then when they see they can't, that's the true power. The true
Yes.
power in your life is showing other people when they said you couldn't, that you can. And
I know
especially if
that's
you're
right.
doing something that makes you glow from the inside out, where you're being led by a divine path, where you're like, this
Mm.
is what I'm supposed to do right now. So I would just say the best thing to do, also for ladies, is when you start feeling passionate about what you're doing, pay attention to that and move forward with it, and
Yes.
find something you're passionate about. I know we're all
Yeah.
working jobs, but my goodness, find something that gives you meaning. It may not be the highest paying job, may not be the
Mhm.
perfect job, but if it gives you purpose,
Yes.
that's what matters. Purpose and passion. So I would just say right now, if you're in a slump in your life, things are bad, you're suffering through things from the past, like what Michelle had talked about earlier. Thank you for sharing again. Like if you're in that place in your life where things need to change and you're just feeling stagnant with no growth and a lot of pain and hurt and disappointment, take charge and change it. And
Yes.
if you don't know how, reach out to people that are doing what you want to do, rub
Yes.
elbows with the right people, and make those changes. Life is short.
Too
We don't
short.
know how long we've got. And so don't waste it. Don't squander your one
Love it.
opportunity, to be your best.
Yes.
So hopefully that's
Mhm.
helpful. I really am excited. I love what you're doing here. It's
Thank
extremely
you.
beneficial. And I can't wait to watch all the other episodes. Now that I've
Thank
been on one,
you.
now I got to go sniff around and see what you've been up to.
Yes, 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 honey. Each and every day, I have been talking to amazing women and
I
just
love it.
phenomenal women. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to talk about people that I don't know. I know amazing women. Don't think I know 31 amazing women, honey. Please, I gotta cut the
Right,
list. Like people gonna be mad at me. I'm like,
right.
can you put everyone on the list? So yes, Joni, thank you so much again for
Thanks
all
for
that
having
you
me.
do, for all that you're doing. I appreciate you, honey.
Thank
Thank
you for having me. I love what I do, and thanks for your support. And
you.
thank you for the opportunity to talk today. So I appreciate it very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, family. Well, it is your girl, honey. This has been another amazing episode. I told y'all I love phenomenal women. I know phenomenal women. Baby, if this did not empower you today, Again, if you are on a journey and you feel like you are in chains, honey, because that's what this is about breaking chains that you don't even know you may have been in. I hope something was said today that will help you to clip those chains, because guess what? Only you have the power. Only you have the power to snip and break and cut all those chains, honey. Just sometimes you feel like you locked in a cage and all you have to do is just get up and push the door open. Yes, baby, you're not even free. You just sitting in there thinking that you are. Yes, all you have to do is just get up and walk. Just get up and make a choice to go another direction. That is my prayer for you today, honey. Well, family, you know how I do it. I aspire to inspire until I expire. Honey, join me tomorrow. I'll be back with another phenomenal woman. It is Women's History Month, honey.